Welcome to a new video. Finally, I got the last order that I ordered in the mail for cards, and yeah, I finally get the support for my Raidraptor list, which I was looking to make for a very long time because Raidraptors is one of my favorite strategies. Raidraptors is a very powerful archetype, a lot more than people think, and if you know the in and outs of the archetype, you can just produce very powerful board and play around Disruption pretty well. I'm going to show you basically 3 combos as well as a deck profile and a side in the video, so hope you are prepared for that. So we're going to see what I have in store for you today. But before we jump right into the video itself, I'm going to remind you the usual thing that a subscriber a day keep the depression away. So if you want to help the channel, see more videos like this, and just help me want to make more awesome videos, please consider hitting that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list. Alright, so let's get started with the list itself. So starting things off, we're actually going to start things with the old Raidraptor support first, and I'm going to start with 3 copies of Tribute Lanius, followed up by the 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius, 2 copies of Mimicry Lanius, then 3 copies of Pain Lanius, and then the 1 copy of Singing Lanius to round off the old support. Now, each and every single one of these have their own awesome effects for the archetype. In case of Tribute Lanius, during the main phase, you can send any Raidraptor card from the deck to the graveyard, and essentially, basically most of the time you're going to send this, which we'll get to it in a second, but the point is, it's the Foolish Burial of the archetype. Vanishing Lanius, which is a card that basically became better this format specifically because we don't really have effect veilers and imperms running around so much. It became a little bit better because the card says that once per turn in the main phase, as you can special summon, or should I say, if this card was normal or special summon, you get the ability to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster from your hand, including itself. So you can just special summon, and then special summon if you have 3 of these in your hand in another Raidraptor. But, like I said, because of Imperms and Effect Veiler, the card was a little bit worse, but right now it's significantly better because these cards are not really being played. In case of Mimicry Lanius, it actually became even worse this format, or I should say, because of the fact that we do have Meissners and Ghost Bells and stuff like that, but still a very important card. This one is the target most of the time to send to the graveyard with the effect of Tribute, because this one in the graveyard have the effect to banish itself. It was sent there this turn to essentially add to your hand a Raidraptor card, which either going to be another Raidraptor extender if you need to, so that's why these 2 are like 1 card's extenders, kind of, which we'll get in a second to explain them. But the point is either that, or you're going to add to yourself the spell card, which is called Raidraptor Nest. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I don't run this card at 3 because of the fact that, like I mentioned a second ago, this is basically the worst starter in the entire archetype, and you don't really want to open up with more than 1 copy of it, if even. Because this one by itself, you use his, even just 1 card by himself, you normal summon this, you use his effect to send this, you banish this, you search this, and then you have the ability to bring out a rank 4 just with 1 card with no additional extenders. In case of Vanishing Lanius, you can just use this, and then you just take any other card out of your hand, and you just special summon it immediately, and don't really have any problem, because this one extends on himself, which is really great. But in case of Mimicry Lanius, he could be a little bit of a problem, and like I said, open up multiples really doesn't help. Now, one thing I would mention is that Tribute Lanius have another effect if it destroys something by battle, which doesn't really matter that much, and the effect of Mimicry Lanius also to increase Raidraptors by 1 level once on the field. All of them also doesn't really matter, just to mention that as well. So they do have these additional effects, but nobody will really care about them. In the case of Pain Lanius, this card is absolutely ridiculously good. This one cannot be used as an Xyz material for an Xyz summon except from the Winged Beast, but you don't really care, because what you do, you target a Raidraptor monster, preferably a level 4, actually only a level 4, you will not target the level 3, which is one of the new cards, and basically you become that level, you take damage equal to its attack or defense, whichever is lower, and basically you get another extender, level 4, out of your hand. Now, one thing I would mention, though, is that this card doesn't work with the card Raider's Wing for some reason, and also because of the fact that this card could be bad in time, so sometimes I do side this out, because you don't want to take damage in time and lose for time if you're going to game 3. Then Singing Lanius, which is the most simple card, you basically search this with Raidraptor 4 Strix, is just if you control an Xyz monster, you special summon this card, really simple on that part. But that's pretty much does it for the old support. Hope it's pretty understandable. Now we'll move on into the new stuff. So for the new stuff, I run 3 copies of Raider's Wing, 3 copies of Strangle, and then the dual copies of Heel Eagle, or should I say the 2 copies of Heel Eagle. Now, I'm going to say this right now, Heel Eagle is definitely the worst out of this, just because of the fact that he's a level 3, but he's still a great extender, because he can special summon himself with all of these cards, basically, all of the 20 cards, including himself. So if you control a Raidraptor monster, minimum 1, and only Raidraptor monsters, you can special summon this card out of your hand, and it's just a great extender to basically giving you the ability to go into a Link 2, or into the Link 3 that we have in the extra deck, so that's also good for that, and sometimes you just need this for swarming the board, so that's good for that. Now, the problem is, it is a level 3, not a level 4, which I don't really understand that reason, but it is what it is. If it was a level 4, you would run 3 of this 100%, but unfortunately because of that, you only run the 2. Then you also have the effect in the graveyard to banish himself from the graveyard to add to your hand a Raidraptor card, spell and trap from your deck, from your graveyard to your hand, but you technically only have the 1 card, and only when it gets popped, you're probably going to use this effect. Still a very, very nice recovery effect, but I wished we had more Raidraptor cards to basically utilize this with. But other than that, this card is pretty nice. Then we have Strangulanius, which is a great card. Basically, if you use this effect while you control a dark monster to special summon himself, you do lock yourself for darks for the rest of the turn, but you mostly don't care because this deck is mostly dark. There's only 1 or 2 cards that could be a problem. Actually, only 1 card in the extra deck that could be a problem, but other than that, you don't really care. It doesn't hurt you whatsoever. And the other effect is that if you control an Xyz monsters that have a Dark Xyz monster as a material, he's allowing you to revive a level 4 lower Raidraptor card, or monster should I say, and then special summon it, and then you're getting with this a free rank 4, which is absolutely ridiculous, or an additional, link materials or whatever you need, which is great. But most of the time it's just going to be a 3 rank 4, which is ridiculous. And also one thing to mention is that if you don't use his effect to special summon himself, he would not lock you for darks, just to keep that in mind, just to say you about that. But yeah, I like Strangulanius. Strangulanius is absolutely ridiculous and probably the best card out of all of these, even more than this one, which is also really, really good, but I think this one is better. Well, this card is also amazing, which is Raider's Wing. Raider's Wings, like I mentioned, doesn't work with Pain Lanius for some reason, but it does work with Heel Eagle. It does count as a Raidraptor and a Phantom Knight card all the time. It always counts that, which is really great. But on top of that is that this card is a combination of a Bezel Ship and Time Thief Winder in one. It doesn't search anything, but the point is, if it's in your hand or graveyard, you can basically detach a material from an Xyz monster, special summon this from your hand or graveyard, or should I say a Dark Xyz monster, I believe. Yeah, you have to detach from a Dark Xyz monster, and then you special summon this card from your graveyard or hand and banish it when it's leave the field. On top of that, a Dark Xyz monster that have this card as a material also have the following effect, gain the following effect that you basically your opponent cannot target it with card effects. And it doesn't say that it has to be Xyz summoned with it. No. As long as it have it as a material, you gain this effect, which means that basically if you have this as one of your opening cards, like you have Vanishing Lanius and this, your Force Tricks will not be able to be interrupted, which is amazing. So this card is absolutely ridiculous for that, and I love this for that. Now, another reason why I run this at 3 is because of the fact that it does count as a Phantom Knight card, because of the fact that, like Bardiche, sometimes you open up with your Silent Boot, so you do have this to just basically use as a material to send in the graveyard. Also, just a great card to send in the graveyard and just continue Foolish Burialing, which is really nice, so, it's have a very, very nice amount of utility. If it wouldn't have the benefit of, what are called? The fact that it's able to also be used from the hand and graveyard, the fact that it's also being able to be called as a Phantom Knight card, and the fact that it's also being called, giving your monster protection, Dark Xyz monster protection, I would say that you only run this at 1 because it's otherwise it will be just like another version of Singulanius. But because of the fact that it have all of these 3 amazing benefits, you want to run this card at 3. You want to open up this in your opening hand because most of the time you wake up rank 4, and then you're just able to use this as an extender immediately, which is great. So you want to run this card at 3. But that's pretty much does it for the Raidraptors, and for the additional supporting monsters, I run 1 copy of Zephyrus the Elite and 1 copy of Silent Boots. I don't really need to explain these way too much. This one to be special summoned with Wise Tricks, and this one is for your combos with Bardiche. And like I mentioned, again, if you do open up with this in your opening hand, you do have a way to bail this out with the Raider's Wing. It's not optimal, but it is an option. And then for the last 6 cards, for the monsters, 3 Ash and 3 Meissner for the hand traps. Honestly, it can be any combination of hand traps you prefer, and I just decided to run 3 additional hand traps more than like I wanted initially, because I came to the conclusion that 3 additional like Allure Darkness or additional Raidraptor names didn't really came up, so I decided to run 3 additional hand traps, and it turns out to be pretty great. But that's pretty much does it for the monsters. Now we'll move on into the spells. So for the spells themselves, I'm going to start with the rank up spells. We're running 2 copies of the new rank up spell, Phantom Knight rank up spell, 1 copy of Soul Shape Force, and then the 1 copy of rank up Phantom Nut Lunch, basically. This card is really great. I'm just going to say this right now. Basically, this card allowing you to, during the main phase, to banish a dark monster from your graveyard and target 1 dark Xyz monster you control that even have a material, so it's not like this. Even if it have a material, which is great, and then you can special summon 1 Raidraptor, Xyz Dragon, or a Phantom Knight monster up to the a ranks higher, up to the numbers like of the monsters that you from the monster of monsters you banish. So, for example, if you banish 3 and you target a level 4, you basically will be able to summon, or rank 4, you'll be able to summon Arsenal Falcon, which is really great. So that's kind of really powerful. And yeah, I really like this card. It's really helped a lot, and it's just a great rank up card. Then for Soul Shape Force, it's basically here for either help you to basically go into an Infinity or on Revolution Falcon. Mostly that is the utility. You do take half of your life points, so do keep that in mind, but the card is really great. And then the card which came off the ban list, which I am surprised it came off the ban list. This card is absolutely ridiculous because you're able to target any Dark Xyz that doesn't have a material. Basically, you rank it up and give this as an additional material. And another thing is that you can basically banish this card from your graveyard, and then attach a Phantom Knight card from your hand to a Dark Xyz monster, which is great because sometimes you do have, what are names? Wings in your hand, Raider's Wings in your hand, and they do count as Phantom Knight monsters, so you're able to basically attach them out of your hand, which is great, so I like this quite a bit. And then for the additional spells, we have 4 additional spells I really like to run. 1 Raidraptor's Nest, which is a must. 1 copy of Monster Reborn for extension. 1 copy of Foolish Burial because it's freaking Foolish Burial and it's really good with 5 of your cards, which are Raider's Wings and the Mimicries. And then the 1 copy of Harpy Feather Duster, which I like to run specifically. You don't have to run this. You can run Cold by the Grave, you can run another Raidraptor name, you can run another hand trap. You can do whatever you want to, but I just felt specifically I need an additional name for like something that is like back or removal in the main deck, because sometimes I just felt like I just need this in the main deck, and this is just a really great card. And there's no really an explanation for these guys. But that's pretty much does it for the spells. Now we'll move on into the traps. And for the traps themselves, basically you're going to run 4, which are the 3 Shade, and then the 1 Phantom Knight Lunch, the 1 Fogblade. Basically, this card is the only card I'm kind of like a little bit considered on the start, because of the fact that this card is after turn 1, after you use it once and you have it in the graveyard, it's really dead because you don't really have the ability to banish it or use it for anything. But the point is that this card is just like an additional extender turn 1. I just felt it's way too important to not run at 3, because this deck does need like a starter and an extender. And this one allowing you to give the extender without any other requirements or anything. So this card is really great. You could use it later down the line as well, but you have to set it up first, which is a problem. But, you know, it is what it is. If you have to draw this later down the line, it kind of sucks, but like I said, it is what it is. And then the Phantom Knight Fogblade, if you open up with this and you already use this and you don't really need anything else, you just search the Fogblade, which is pretty much what you do. But that's pretty much does it for the traps and does it for the main deck. Now we'll move on into the extra deck. So for the extra deck itself, I'm going to start with the Raidraptor stuff with double copies of Y-Strix, followed up by the double copies of 4-Strix, the 1 copy of Air Raid, the 1 copy of Original Revolution, the 1 copy of Arsenal, and then the 1 copy of Ultimate Falcon. Now, in case of all of these, this is basically the lineup that I decided to go with, and all of these are just absolutely great cards. In case of Y-Strix, which is the Link monster, absolutely ridiculous card, and I don't really even believe that it even out On summon, it's giving you a dark winged beast level 4 out of your deck. Cannot be used as a link, but who cares? You get a Zephyros the Elite out of your deck or anything else that you need. And then if you have an Xyz monster, a Raidraptor Xyz monster to activate its effect, you're able to set a rank up directly from your deck that could be used in the same turn. So this card is absolutely ridiculous and already getting 2 cards out of your deck for you immediately, which is absolutely ridiculous. I love this card to death. Then Raidraptor 4 Strix is your basically generic rank 4 that you use. It's just generic rank 4 that you use. That's pretty much what it is. It's give you searches. It's just a great card. No really need to explain about this one that much. Air Raid is if you open up way too much rank up spells, and just like a nice card that if it dies, bring out this, which this by itself is just, let's say an OTK machine, which is really great. Then we have Arsenal, which allowing you to summon out something out of your deck. A Raidraptor level 4, and then, or should I say, a Winged Beast level 4. It doesn't really say Raidraptor, so you can summon even Zephyros the Elite, but the point is, most of the time you go to summon a Raidraptor. And the point is that if this sent to the graveyard was having a Raidraptor as an Xyz material, you get to basically summon a Raidraptor out of your deck, out of your extra deck, and putting this as a material under it, which most of the time going to be Ultimate Falcon, which is your mini Zexal, mini, unaffected by anything towers, which is really great. Also, another thing about Ultimate is that Ultimate can attack up to the times that you have materials, but it mostly doesn't really matter. But that does it for the Raidraptor extra deck cards, I guess. Then for the Phantom Knight stuff, 1 Rusty, 1 Dark Rebellion, and 1 Dark Requiem. Rusty is obvious, it's for the combos, and Dark Rebellion and Dark Requiem, again, same idea, is just really, really useful for interruptions and stuff like that. And then for the miscellaneous stuff, 1 copy of Nightmare, 1 copy of Time Thief Redoer, 1 copy of Infinity, and then 1 copy of Kali Yuga. These two are basically not need to be explained. Kali Yuga is just for the Phantom Knight Lunch. This one is for Soul Shave Force. This one is because of Bardiche, and this one if you need another rank 4, which is great. So, I have this because sometimes, I do want the third 4 Strix, but I felt like the additional utility card is just really, really useful. And Evil Swarm Nightmare is dark, it's required 2 materials, and it's have a very, very decent effect. So that's why I came to that conclusion. But that's pretty much does it for the extra deck, and now we're actually going to move on into a live side deck, because this is a deck that I am planning to take to my near locals, so this is also the side deck that I kind of already made up, so I thought to myself why not to cut it into a section if we can talk about this live here. So for the side deck itself, for me, I run 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 copies of Droll Lockbird, and 3 copies of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. I don't really think I need to explain these that much, but for me specifically for my meta, this is against other heavy grave decks. This is against search decks, which are in the format, and Nibiru is just good about any deck that just summon more than 5 or 5 and higher, so that's really great, and it's really great to finally have the Space Rock in an actual profile, I guess. And then for the spells for this side deck, I run triple copies of Dark Ruler No More to help me break boards if I have to, and then 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone if I need another back row removal options. And then for the last 2 cards are actually my spies that I like to run. Some people will not like these, but I specifically really like. I run 1 Raider's Knight and 1 copy of Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Now the reason why I run these is because of the fact that I want something to play in Game 2. You're not always, obviously, guaranteed to go Game 1 to go first, right? But most of the time you are able to hold up to what your opponent dishes because they don't really know what to expect with Raidraptors, because Raidraptors is a great deck and a lot more than people give it credit for. And just getting 2 level 4s on the field most of the time for Raidraptors is enough to just start their plays, just to let you know that's how crazy this deck works. But the point is, your opponent will not, just be ready for this. Game 1, you can just bit them or lose to them. Sometimes it is what it is. But this is for Game 2s and Game 3, depending on the situation. Because in Game 2, let's say you go in first and you won, right? Sometimes your opponent is already just going to cite everything that they need for you and essentially deal with you. But in Game 2, if you're able to bait up your opponent and bring these out with 2 level 4s, again, you just bring this, you bring this on top of that, you negate everything, gain all of their attacks, and just attack for game, basically. It's really, really that simple, and trust me, this becoming 8,000 attack more with your opponent monsters is not that far stretched. So I felt like this is really great, and also just like in time is also just a great card. So just having these is just proved up to be a great package. But that's pretty much does it for the side deck and does it for the deck profile itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And now let me adjust the mat a little bit, or the camera a little bit, I guess. And we're going to jump right into the 3 combos that I basically have for you. So welcome to the combo section. In this combo section, I'm going to show you 3 particular combos which are going to resolve around basically your 3 starters, which one of them will be with Tribute, the second combo will be with Vanishing, and the third combo will be with Mimicry. And I'm going to start off with the Tribute one, which in my opinion is the more consistent and better one. So for the combo itself, number 1, you need Tribute Lanius and then a Raidraptor Extender, which could be either Pain Lanius or Heal Eagle. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one of them you open up with, but let's get started with this. So starting things off, we're going to start off by normal summoning Tribute Lanius, activating Pain Lanius effect, turning into Tribute, making yourself a level 4, take 400, and then we're going to use the effect of Tribute to send to our graveyard the Mimicry Lanius. We're then going to banish the Mimicry Lanius and grab to our hand the Nest, and then we're going to activate the Nest and activate its effect to grab to our hand the Heal Eagle. We're then going to special summon Heal Eagle by its own effect, and then going to use these 2 to make up your first Link monster, which is Y-Strix. We're then going to use Y-Strix effect to special summon Zephyrus the Elite directly out of our deck, and then we're going to use these 2 immediately to make up Raidraptor Force Strix out of our extra deck. Then specifically you want to detach Zephyrus the Elite out of your, obviously Force Strix, and then you're going to add to your hand the Strangulanius. Then you're going to use the effect of Y-Strix to set to your side of the field the rank up magics of the Soul Shave rank up magic. Now, of course, I'm going to say this right now, because you're going to go Link specifically, you don't really need to detach this one specifically, but because of the fact that I just like want to memorize, I most of the time detach the Zephyrus the Elite for other combos. So just to help you specifically memorize, always try to detach Zephyrus the Elite or Raider's Wings, whichever one you didn't use, for a particular part of the combo, just to have a better memory when you need to. Then we're going to use these 2 specifically immediately to make up the one and only Rusty, and then we're going to use the rank up magic immediately before Rusty's effect to bring out Force Strix, taking half life points damage, and then special summoning Infinity on top of our Force Strix. Then we're going to use the effect of Zephyrus the Elite in our graveyard, which is going to bounce to our hand the Nest to then special summon itself out of the graveyard. We're then going to use the effect of Rusty finally to dump to our grave the, not this, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken, dump to our grave this one, which is Silent Boots, to set to our side of the field the Shade Brigadine. Then we use the effect of Boots to banish itself, to grab to our hand, finally, the rank up magic, Phantom Knight rank up magic, the new one. Then we're going to use the effect of Shade Brigadine to special summon itself, and then use these 2 to make finally the card that I showed by mistake earlier, which is Redoer, because I mistaken the pile of main deck and extra deck, but Redoer with an interruption by itself, so you have a 1-2 already. And then we're going to use the effect of Strangulanius to special summon itself out of your hand, because you have Darks, and because you do control an Xyz monster with an Dark Xyz monster as a material, you can also use this effect to bring out to your side of the field the Tribute Lanius, to then use those 2 to make up Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. And then set up to your side of the field the rank up magic that you have in your hand, and pass. And in this particular instant, specifically, basically even with this specifically, you have the Raidraptor's Nest in your hand, 5 cards in your field, and an additional 3 cards in hand. But on top of this, this board is very, very brilliant because of a few particular things. First and foremost, you have Time Thief Redoer, which is an interruption by himself, and can steal a card from your opponent's top deck, basically. And sometimes it's a very, very important card, so that's really, really great. And like I said, again, it's an interruption. Secondly, you have Infinity, which is another interruption, so that's already 2 interruptions. And then you have this card. which is 3 additional interruptions, because you're going to use this card during the opponent's turn to banish any dark and make a Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon on top of it. And Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, as long as you have Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon as a material, you can use this effect that when a monster effect is activated, you can negate the effect, basically. And it doesn't say as a hard once per turn, which is really great. And one also really great about this is that when you summon this, you activate the effect of Rusty, which is an additional pop. So technically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 6.5 because you can steal something important, but basically 6 interruptions. And also another good things about this end board is because of the fact that this can also play around Dark Ruler, because of the fact that you can summon this after your opponent Dark Ruler you, and still have 3 interruptions of your Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, which is really, really great. So I like this end board quite a lot, and it's probably one of my favorites. But that's pretty much does it for combo number 1. Let's jump right into combo number 2. Alright, so for combo number 2 specifically, which is the Vanishing Lanius combo, you need 1 copy of Vanishing Lanius, obviously, and then the 1 copy of Raider's Wing. Now, of course, this can be achieved in different ways as well, but this is pretty much the more easiest and simplest way to understand. And in this particular combo, you're going to have 5 interruption end board, which is also pretty admirable, which is really nice. So start things off, we're going to start things by obviously normal summoning the Vanishing Lanius, triggering its effect to special summon the Raider's Wing. And then you're going to use these 2 immediately to make out the 4 Strix, and then we're going to use 4 Strix effect to detach a material to add to our hand the Singing Lanius. We then go to special summon Singing Lanius and use Raider's Wings effect to detach the Vanishing Lanius and basically special summon itself out of the graveyard. In order to not banish this card and use it later, we're going to use these 2 specifically instead, and then make out of our extra deck the one and only Y-Strix. Then we're going to use Y-Strix effect to special summon out of our deck the Zephyrs the Elite, and then specifically make with these 2 the second copy of 4 Strix. Then specifically in this instant, we do need to specifically detach this, so we detach Zephyrs the Elite, and out to our hand, Strangle Lanius, which is this lovely dude. Then we're going to activate the effect of Wise because we did that, and specifically in this combo, we're going to set the Rank Up Magic Magic Force, basically. And then we're going to use the effect of Strangle Lanius to lock ourselves into Darks, and then use the effect of Zephyrs the Elite to bounce him to our hand to special summon Zephyrs the Elite. Now, of course, you can do different things in this combo, but this is just I found to be a very nice combo in this department. Then you're going to use these 2 specifically to obviously you know who, which is our boy Rusty Bardish. And then you're going to use Rusty Bardish effect to send the Boots, obviously, and setting to your side of the field the Shade Brigadine. And then you're going to use the effect of Boots to banish itself to add to your hand the other Rank Up Magic Phantom Knight one, basically. Then, what we're going to do is that we're going to use this card, because you can use this immediately the turn it was set, even if it's a quick spell, because of the effect of Y-Strix. And because of that, we have a bunch of, dark monsters in our graveyard. We're going to banish 3 of them so we can make a rank 7. So we're going to banish Y-Strix because we have another in our extra deck, Zephyrs because it's fulfilled its purpose, and Singing Lanius, same idea. You're going to banish all these 3 and summon out of your extra deck the Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon. Then, after that, you're going to use the effect of Arsenal Falcon, detaching specifically the wing, to summon out of your deck a Winged Beast level 4, which is Dark, and we're going to summon out of our deck the Raidraptor Vanishing Lanius. Because, like I said, Vanishing Lanius is not a hard once per turn. As long as it's normal or special summon as a soft once per turn, you get to special summon a Raidraptor from your hand. And in this particular case, we can summon the monsters that we bounced back to our side of the field, which will be Raidraptor Strangle Lanius to this side of the field. We can use the effect of Strangle Lanius immediately to summon Raider's Wing, and then use Shade Brigadine to special summon itself. Then using Shade Brigadine and Vanishing Lanius, we're going to make Time Thief Redoer to our side of the field, giving us our second, or should I say, our first interruption, technically. And then we're going to use these 2, giving us the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Now, this is not where that ends, because now we're going to use the effect of Rusty Bardish, because a Dark Xyz was summoned, or an Xyz monster was summoned, and pop our own Arsenal Falcon. Because Arsenal Falcon has an Xyz material, which is a Raidraptor. And because of that, we're able to summon our towers to our side of the field, which will be Raidraptor, Ultimate Falcon. And then, to end our board, obviously, we still have this. So once again, this is the 5 interruption end board, because 1 interruption with Rusty because of the effect of this, specifically being summoned because of this, and then the Time Thief Redoer, which is also a steal, and then, like I said, the 3 interruptions because of this card. So, once again, a pretty nice and very, very strong end board, in my opinion. But that's pretty much does it for combo number 2. Obviously, once again, you still have 3 cards in your hand, and which is really good, but now we can move on into combo number 3. Alright, so combo number 3. So for combo number 3, I'm going to show you the combo with the 2 cards that you basically want to most of the time extend to, but sometimes you do draw into them, so you still be able to make a good board with these cards in your hand. So the 2 cards I'm talking about are the Tribute Lanius, or the Mimicry Lanius, which you want to Foolish with a Tribute, and then the Shade Brigandine that you most of the time want to use as a trap for your Redoer as an extender. But let's say you open up with these 2 in your opening hand. What can you do here? Well, to start things off, obviously you're going to normal summon the Mimicry, set the Shade, special the Shade, use those 2, and you're going to make up the first 4 Strix. We're then going to use specifically the effect of 4 Strix to detach specifically Mimicry, to add to our hand the Singing Lanius. Special summon the Singing Lanius, and then activate Mimicry to banish itself, to add to our hand the Nest. Then we're going to activate Nest and add to our hand Pain. Because we have a Raidraptor with level, we can target it, special summon this, take 100, and then use these 2 to make out, obviously, a Y-Strix. We're then going to use Y-Strix effect to special summon the first the Elite, and then we're going to use these 2 again to make out another rank 4, again, which will be 4 Strix again. Then we're going to use the effect of 4 Strix to detach Zephyrus the Elite specifically to our graveyard, to grab to our hand, which you're probably going to ask why, but I will explain in the end. I'm going to grab to my hand specifically a Tribute Lanius. This is basically just like for an additional thing follow-up next turn. I will explain it a little bit more in the end, but I'm grabbing to my hand a Tribute Lanius. Triggering up Y-Strix effect to set your outside the field the Soul Shave Force, and then we're going to activate Soul Shave Force immediately to target the Raidraptor 4 Strix in our graveyard that we already used to make with it Cyber Dragon Infinity. We're then going to use Zephyrus the Elite effect, grab this back to our hand, special summon Zephyrus out of our graveyard, and then use those 2 to make out a Shade Brigandine. We're then going to use Shade Brigandine effect, or should I say, sorry, not Shade Brigandine, Rusty Bardiche. We're going to use Rusty's effect, sending this card to your graveyard, and setting to your side of the field the 3rd rank up spell that we haven't used in any of the 2 previous combos, and that is Rank Up Lunge. Then we're going to use Silence Boots effect to banish itself, and grab to our hand the Rank Up Magic, the new Raidraptor, the new Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic. Then we're immediately going to activate this new Rank Up Magic on Raidraptor 4 Strix, and we're going to banish 1, 2, 3 darts exactly from our graveyard to make out, obviously, the Arsenal Falcon. Then we're going to use Arsenal Falcon effect to detach Singing Lanius, specifically. It doesn't really matter, but you can detach whatever you want to. Summon a Tribute Lanius out of our deck, activate Tribute Lanius effect, dumping the Raider's Wing, and then use Raider's Wing effect to detach the other material out of 4 Strix, special summon it out of the graveyard, and then make with these 2 Evil Swarm Nightmare. And you're probably asking yourself, why didn't extend more into something a little bit more? Because technically I could have searched the, what is his name again? The Strangulanius, and then make another rank 4 Xyz. But the reason why I decided not to do that is because there is one specific thing that you can do next turn, or during the opponent's turn, which is basically summoning with this Akali Yuga, which will make the other rank 4 Xyz useless. And basically the other reason why I would not do that is because of the fact that this together, it will be a follow-up next turn that I can recycle a 4 Strix to my extra deck and start my plays all over again. So that's why I specifically grab up Tribute Lanius to be a follow-up with this next turn. And that's why I think you should do that if you're able to, and you don't need the second 4 Strix, or you don't really need the extension for the combo, because this is already a very impressive combo. You have the Infinity Interruption, you have the 2 Nightmare interruptions, you have this interruption technically, although I think like immediately when you exist, this will basically stop this effect, but the point is you still have like the Cold Wave effect of Kali Yuga, which is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, you have this, and this technically have 2 materials, technically, but point is, you have a Kali Yuga with 2 additional backups interruptions, which is really powerful. But that's pretty much does it for the combos themselves overall. Hope you enjoyed these 3. Hope they kind of like gave you an insight how the deck works. Now we're going to jump right into the next deck choices. Alright, so for the next deck choices, we have 4 choices again. And in this particular situation, I'm actually going to switch some choices around because of the fact that, like I said, I got new order of cards. So I decided to, you know what, let's just put some of these archetypes in because I want to do them once again for a very, very long time. And for the archetypes that I chose, I decided to go with 1 to be FA and 2nd to be Time Thief. The other 2 options that are returning from last week are Demise and Ruin and Thunder Dragon. Basically, these are the first options for next week, and let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see next. But that pretty much does it for the video, and does it for the deck profile, combos, and everything as a whole. So hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.